Hi everyone. So it's great to be here. I'm going to change it up a little bit. So to actually give you a bit of a deep dive into a company that lives and breathes the latest and what is on the edge of technology. And the relevance is that we're taking as much advantage as we can of cloud technology so that we can actually make life better for the citizens of the world. So you as consumers of government services, or you as consumers of banking services, or whatever it is, and I'm going to give you a bit of a deep dive into some of the stuff that we do for customers, and we'll try and kind of make that relevant to the cloud. Is that fair enough? We are a Canberra-based global software company, and if I can kind of segue from what Nina has just told us, we're a company in a very humble warehouse in the back of Fyshwick that has clients all around the world. So my guys, who are software technology experts, are teleworkers. I've got 3 guys in Sydney, 2 guys in Brisbane, 3 guys in Singapore, 1 in New York, 1 in Dallas, 2 in Toronto, and the rest of us here in Canberra. But these guys all participate in the team as if, we're all together. So we use a variety of technologies to enable our business to operate in that regard, and Skype kind of, runs the world for us. But there are some amazing emerging technologies that I'm sure are going to become mainstream in the not too distant future. And one of the pieces of equipment that we aspire to be able to afford is actually, if you like, a Dalek style of Skype. Can you picture that? So it's a remote teleworker who is at their desk, let's call it Dallas. Their face is on a Dalek style of mobile person in the home office. It's connected through the cloud. They've got a remote control at their desk, and they literally think of a Dalek, right? You with me? They literally, so Dalek with a monitor on it. So they literally remote control from Dallas to, your desk in Fyshwick and say, they can't tap you on the shoulder, but they go, ooh, what are you working on? Right, so it's very cool. So look out for that. I don't know what they're called, but they're about $10,000 a unit now. So look, it's not long until this concept of presence and separateness is kind of irrelevant, yeah? And so bring it on. And all of this kind of cool stuff is enabled by the cloud, enabled by stuff that just happens without you having to be anywhere or without anything having to be installed. So Intelidox, what is it? So 25 years in the making is this company, like I said, a Canberra-based company. And essentially what we do is help our customers to turn what was once a paper-based workflow kind of process into a digital process. So this is not scanning, this is not digitisation of kind of your records. This is the digitalisation of a business process. One of the most exciting projects that we've just finished is the complete end-to-end digitalisation of a home loan application process for one of the Asia Pacific's largest banks. So it's not just the form, yeah, it's not just the what's your name, how much do you earn, what do you want to buy kind of thing. This is the actual digitalisation of the whole process. So we take the customer's data, we collect it, and then we take the bank's process and the rules and all of the kind of compliance and regulatory decision points that are made along the way, and it's completely digitalised, so nobody touches it. So all the function points and all the computation and all the decisions, all the product options are all coded, if you like, into a workflow and a process. So the world is moving towards less paper-based workflows into stuff happening online. And if you think about our kids, a few of us have made references to our very tech-savvy kind of 15-year-olds, is they expect everything to happen in that online experience. Yeah, so by the time you get to step number 7, they expect that the bank says yes or no. They don't expect someone to call them back next week after some paperwork has been processed. So I think that's a really good, ubiquitous example that I can give you that is the world that we live in. So everything that we kind of do is leveraging cloud. And in our context, it's actually the ability to leverage information. And I'm sure that my colleagues here on the panel would understand that. So the deep dive, if you like, under the hood of cloud and why cloud is its ability to deal with volumes of transactional data and information. So if you kind of think about Netflix, it's the ability to store all that stuff and actually bring it down a pipe to you without a courier have to bringing it to you on a truck. So what it's enabling is some really stunning and amazing transformation in the way governments and large corporates will deal with you as citizens. So our company, Intelidox, is a platform, a technology platform that's enabling governments and large organisations to bring you better online experiences. I thought it was very interesting, Dean, talking about the transition or the transformation that's happening inside our own industry, because if you like, the enemy of innovation are the big kind of technology vendors that exist around the globe. They are our friends, indeed they have pioneered our industry and they're very good people, but they are protecting the legacy or the copper that they have in the ground. And a lot of big corporations have vested millions and billions of dollars in those systems of the 80s and the 90s. And so the next generation of cloud-based vendors and cloud-based service providers are disrupting and are really, really challenging those paradigms of kind of big, expensive projects that take a year or 2 or 3 to generally fail, mind you. You see them in the press, a few in the press now where a certain very large, very well-respected technology organisation has surpassed $1 billion worth of invoicing to the federal government here, and we as citizens have nothing to show for that. So they are paradigms of the past, right? So cloud and online is truly going to transform the world for us as citizens. Our government will no longer be spending $1 billion on something that actually doesn't work. We kind of won't let them. So for us, Intelidox, we work in a cloud-based environment. We have a whole bunch of our clients, because we've been in business for so long, who are what we call enterprise clients, who like things installed on their servers. So we deal with primarily government. And so they're still, the jury's still a bit out for them on cloud. But I do believe that the tides of change are coming along quite rapidly. We've just convinced the federal government that they can actually host a form in the cloud, so where the government can actually provide a link to you as a citizen to kind of just click on something, and it will actually initiate a workflow where the government can interface with a citizen in a meaningful way. How often have you been sent in the mail some paperwork from the government? So it's a form, if you think about it. How often have you been sent something in the mail? So on the envelope it says your name and your address and your postcode and all that kind of stuff. You open up the envelope and there's a form there that's asking you what your name and your address and your postcode is. So a bit, that's what we've lived through, right? That was kind of the way we do it. So we are turning that kind of interaction between citizens and clients on their head. We've got about 1 million clients worldwide, 1 million users of our technology. And just last week, we're very excited to announce a major partnership with our company and Microsoft, between Microsoft and Fuji Xerox. So we're using the Microsoft Azure cloud. So it is a big, beautiful kind of bunch of servers in the sky. And this is a Singapore-based cloud. And Fuji Xerox are rolling out our technology to their client base. So for a little company in Fishwick, it's very, very significant. But if you think about this. What does Fuji Xerox do? What's their major kind of thing? They print stuff. Right, so what have I just told you that we do? We don't print stuff, right? So this is a game changer. So Fuji Xerox is a major company. And if you stand back in any kind of CBD and look up at all the buildings, 40, 50, 60 floors of offices, every single one of those floors has probably about 20, 30, 40, 50 printers on those floors. And they'll, at the end of a kind of a workflow or the end of a process, someone goes over and presses print on a printer. And so these guys are finally starting to understand that a process that needs an output doesn't actually need something to go onto a bit of paper. And that's kind of where we're coming along with some disruptive technology, and they get it. And so working with one of the leading cloud vendors, Microsoft, we're able to work together with an innovative, transformative, disruptive piece of technology into a traditional kind of market leader that owns stuff that needs to be printed, with a cloud vendor. Hopefully we're going to see some changes in the marketplace. So we really are driving forward this paperless conversation. In the last year, our phone has been ringing from people who want to access that stuff that used to be printed. They want to start a workflow or start the engagement with that from a mobile. We've heard that from a couple of the presenters today. And like we know with the next generation, they want to do stuff on their own time and their own terms. So they want to be able to pause, something in the middle of what they're doing and come back later. And so cloud technology enables us to do that, to take advantage of that kind of stuff. Everything's digital, and everything is about data, I think. I think that's really what I'm trying to say. Everything is about data. Knowing where that data is, knowing what that data is called, getting that data back when you need it, and making sure that data is secure. So the market is in a phase at the moment where it can be uncertain about the security of data. And look, that could be a whole 3-day conference that we'll probably all go to those, but it's very interesting. Oh wow, gosh, time goes too quickly. Okay. So what I'm saying is that the demand is hot, yeah? Everyone's ringing, saying, how can I put stuff online? How can I do this workflow smart online? Now, one of the beautiful things is here in Canberra, right, we're talking about digital Canberra and we're talking about smart stuff, is that we are a resource-poor city. Yeah, we haven't got hundreds and thousands of workers who can come in and 20 people can kind of handle the processing of a bank loan application in the bank, right? Singapore, Hong Kong, China, they got no problems with productivity. Yeah, with employing all of you to come and process that home loan application that the customer just left behind. You'll check something's right and then pass it to your colleague who'll do something else, right? That's a workflow. What we're seeing is that the stuff that's coming out of Canberra is world class because we have to be lean, we have to be smart. We don't want to handle something 3 or 4 times. We want to do it right the first time. We want to make sure that the rules are hardwired in there somewhere and that a human hasn't had to kind of randomly apply what they think they know about processing a home loan application. So my point is that the stuff that's coming out of the smart companies in this city is world class. Yeah, it really is, because of the kind of the environment that we live in. So the other guys have already talked about this kind of stuff, so I'll go past that. Choosing cloud is really good for business, and we've talked about these kind of things about scalability and you don't have to pay an IT guy to do your upgrades and things like that. We've all heard about MyOb going to the cloud, and we've all heard about a fabulous startup from New Zealand called Xero, who's really challenging MyOb. Some of the things we haven't talked about are multi-tenancy and data sovereignty. So these are kind of terminology that you may or may not be interested in. But essentially for us to enable our technology to have a greater uptake in the market, we've had to create a software as a service version of our technology, make it a multi-tenancy. So it's kind of like building a high-rise apartment out of our software so that anybody can come along and take an apartment in our high-rise. Is that a good analogy? Because if you think about it, we've been a software company forever and ever, and our clients are used to us having their own house kind of thing that all has to be serviced separately. Data sovereignty is a very, very big issue for software as service software providers who are providing their services globally, because you are bound to the laws of the country in which your service is consumed. And there's all kinds of experiments, if you like, going on with that. And it's definitely something the industry needs to deal with. I've got a few links here. How about I just take one? Just the bottom one, Greg. So I commend these articles to you. PricewaterhouseCoopers is doing some excellent research into innovation and the transformative nature of what technology and digital can do for you and your business, either you as a citizen in the world or you as a user of technology, or you and your business, how you can innovate using technology. So PricewaterhouseCoopers, it's the digital pulse here. I'm into disruption. Those of you who know me know that I'm a reasonably disruptive kind of person. But this is really cool. Just go down, Greg. This is super cool. This is a really cool kind of infographic. I wonder if you can see it. But in the context of what cloud is going to do for all of us, this is a really good way of bringing it home. Roger, you said you wanted me to anchor it and bring it home. If you can see this, and Gartner's doing some really good work around this. If you just kind of Google the Internet of Things, you'll see. So using this great kind of cloud technology and stuff that's emerging now, you can blend the weather report, so what's going to happen in the next week, with traffic information. So the data of traffic volumes or traffic flow, combine that with the public transport system, so say like the train system. And what cities are going to be able to do is to determine the optimal time for you to kind of be a public transport user on a wet weather day, and that your tram or your bus is actually going to be where you need it to be when that downpour comes along. Does that make sense? Right, so you're blending weather data with traffic kind of lights, and that's all data, it's all information, trend analysis, and then bing, the systems of the city are all going to be connected to make our lives as citizens, a great life. And there's some really, really wonderful examples that you can see if you follow some of these links. If you just Google the Internet of Things, if you want a bit of a mind-blowing kind of experience, you can see why you need to get on board with cloud, why you need to understand it, embrace it, and I think our lives, will be better for it. That's just a kind of a citizen type of example, but you think about the kind of medical technology, the advances in what doctors and hospitals can do with this kind of really smart technology, get you better, quicker medical research and that kind of stuff. So I think, as you could probably predict, I could talk about this underwater in concrete forever. I hope it's given you a little bit of an insight into kind of the world of someone that lives in the clouds. And I'll hand it back to you, Roger, to wrap it up. Okay, thank you.